Alright, quick update on Kadena. So I wasn't actually going to record an update on this today because the technicals haven't moved too much, but I did say in my last video I would update you once these momentum indicators do call for a bottom. And it looks like we're seeing the squeeze mom turn dark red, meaning that the bears are in control, and as these turn dark red the bears lose control, and we normally switch over into a bullish phase when this happens. So as I said, the technicals haven't changed too much. I'll run through the technicals very quickly and then we can look at the momentum indicators. I highlighted this before, how if you draw this on the 4 hourly, you can see we have the upper resistance coming in right here. We had a touch point at $6, $5.75, and quite recently on the 4 hourly, this 4 hourly candle just came right into this. This was very recent, and we haven't managed to get above it. So in terms of what's going on in the short term, we may have had a slight breakout of the daily pattern, but on the 4 hourly we're still, very much in this this descending channel. Now, if we come over to the daily, I'll show you what I mean by the first breakout of the first pattern. If I mark this a different color, if I mark this purple, you can see we were also forming on the daily something like this, a descending triangle pattern, and we have managed to break to the upside of it. If I mark that fully purple, you can see we've got this descending triangle here. If I move this to the side, but yeah, we've broken out to the top of this, so this is good sign number one. I would like to highlight though that we have done this once, twice, three, and technically this is still the 4th time that we have broken out of this, and we have not yet put in a daily close above the top of this descending triangle. So it would be very interesting and good to see KDA close around the $5.60 region. I wouldn't like to see it come back down to the $5.50, because in my opinion, that would be a throwback right back into this triangle pattern, which is really not what you want to see. You don't want to see fake out after fake out after fake out after fake out while we're getting pressed along this floor, because we don't have too much in terms of support below us for KDA. Like I said, this 786 fib at $5.37 is really your last line in the sand in terms of the Fibonacci's we can draw. You can draw to the local low that we've got down here at approximately $4.39. And this was actually our breakdown target that I did focus on when we were here on the 7th of April. We were talking about a 31% drop. We came down 21%, and as of now, the way the charts are looking, I might have to scratch the further 10% move to the downside and, just be happy with what we've got, because obviously if we're entering a trade now, we're still at 12% cheaper from when I flipped bearish on this initially after we had this huge breakout of this this channel. We formed an M pattern, broke down, flipped the daily EMA ribbons again. But like I said, the only real thing that's changed since yesterday's video was this squeeze mom, and I'll jump into how these momentum shifts has previously affected the market. But just to start with, like I said, we've broken out of this descending triangle. We are still trapped within this range of this, you can almost call it a bear flag. I mean, that would be completely valid if you wanted to draw it like this. Then you could consider this was either a bearish pennant on the daily, or if you come over to the 4 hour, you can actually see it's more of a channel formation. Whichever way you want to draw it is completely valid. I'm not going to be taking the price target to the downside because in my opinion I think these momentum indicators are calling for a reversal very soon. So where do I need to see us reverse before I can become bullish on this again? Because if you remember when I started covering this, I was bearish once we broke down at 646, and in theory I would probably like to switch bullish before we do come back to those price targets. So at least my bearish intuition that we were going to flip to the downside will be left with some profit if you do look to reaccumulate into the market. And obviously not financial advice. I don't think I'm personally looking to get into KDA right now. I think the market cap is relatively high for a for a random altcoin that most people don't even know what it does. I mean, it's got 1 billion in market cap, so it could do a lot more, but in terms of the macro view on this, only 17% of the supply is out, so the fully diluted is around 5.6 billion. That is a hefty fully diluted market cap compared to the market cap in my opinion. So At least for me, this is more of a short-term trade if I do plan on getting in. If you're a long-term fan below, let me know your opinions on why you're a long-term fan, but this is a short-term trade for me. So I would personally like to see a breakout on the daily time frames of this 786 region at 567. This would also be back testing this 4-hourly channel that we've got going on, and then I'd like to see a push up before I do consider potentially entering a trade on KDA. If we look at the money flow indicator on the daily, you can see this has recently bottomed at 4, and I believe this is, yeah, this is the lowest it's ever gone. So, you know, the money flow indicator is predicting that basically all of the retail money has flown out of this, and now, well, at least the MFI is saying this. I'm not saying this, but the MFI is saying most of the money's flown out. If you were going to buy, you should probably buy now, while most people have exited the market. And I would agree with that sentiment on the MFI. If we look at the squeeze mom, you can see a very similar picture. Like I said, the squeeze mom is a momentum indicator, and we go between these bullish phases. And as you can see, when these dark green candles start to step in, we move over into a bearish phase. We move into a bearish phase. Dark red candles right here. We have a momentum shift and we move over into a bullish phase. Sometimes we just reset the bearish momentum like we did here. We barely got any bullish momentum, so we just reaccumulated back to the downside. The same thing we did here. We had another fake out, really. This was just a fake out, in my opinion, on the momentum indicator. And once again, we've had a huge trough to the downside like we did here. And now we're getting these dark red candles, so I would assume that something like this is going to play out, where, you know, obviously this is just a random drawing of best fit, but for the next 2 weeks or so, I could imagine a momentum shift in favor of the bulls for Kadena, and that is really all I wanted to talk about. I don't feel the need to, you know, draw micro fibs on this video. I feel like the macro fibs that we're hovering around are the most important thing to focus on. Also in the lower time frames, as we are in this bearish pennant. Well, we've broken out of the pennant, but we're still technically in this bear flag. I think these were the most important things to talk about for this video, and like I said, I would give you an update when we did have this momentum shift. Now, bear in mind, this has only popped up on today's candle. This does not mean that if a ton of bearish volume comes in and people start selling and we tank below the floor, that this won't turn back into a a light red candle rather, and we'll just reaccumulate like this. So what do I need to see? I need to see a daily close. I'll probably update you what happens tomorrow, but if we continue seeing dark red candles come in, indicative that the bears are losing control and the bulls are about to take control of the next momentum shift, then I could see a big push above for Kadena. Now, in the short term, where are some regions where we could temporarily get rejected from that we do need to be considerate of? Well, we've got our short-term moving average here on the daily EMA, coming in at $5.90, and as you can see, we've actually faked out into these EMA ribbons twice now, so I'd really be looking for a daily close. You can see Kadena absolutely loves these fake outs. I mean, we have these moves, or this wasn't actually a retest, that was just the line that I had measured here, but you can see we've tried to come up to these EMA ribbons a few times, and we've got rejected every single time. So I'd like to see a pushback above $5.90. If we manage to flip these daily EMA ribbons, I'd imagine we'd see continuation on the daily squeeze mom, and then hopefully we could see the bulls really start to step in terms of the 4-hourly momentum, because the 4-hourly EMA ribbons are still bearish, unfortunately. We are pushing to the top of these EMA ribbons right now. So if we manage to kind of just hodl around $5.67 to $5.70 for the next couple of days or so, then we might be able to switch these 4-hourly EMAs to the upside. I really don't like focusing too much on what happens on the 1 hour, especially as the 1-hourly EMA ribbons often have fake outs, so I honestly don't even really want to consider saying that, you know, we've just fired along on the daily EMAs, because on the hourly EMAs rather, because the last time we did it, it was a fake out. The last time before that we did it, it was a fake out. it normally has a lot of fake outs in downtrends. In uptrends, it works perfectly. When we're in downtrends like this, you see it fake out all the time. So I'd be looking for a 4-hourly flip. I really don't want to focus on the 1 hour. I never do. I always like to focus on the daily and the 4-hourly. As you can see on the 4-hour, we're moving back down, retesting these EMA ribbons. We're starting to look fairly good. And like I said, the bread and butter of this video is the fact that the squeeze bomb is flipping back in favor of the bulls. That is all I've got for you for Kadena today. Hopefully we see continuation, because we are beaten down right now. The money flow indicator is very low. We need to see some continuation bringing Kadena back up. And I think that will happen once we take out both $5.69 and $5.90 respectively. That is all I've got for you today for Kadena. Best of luck if you're in it. Best of luck if you're looking to get in. And yeah, once again, not financial advice. Cowboy out. Peace.